As we continue in our Wednesday night talks through the book of James, I want to add to some of Sam's thoughts from last week on verses 2 and 3. He did a great job in talking about our attitude going through trials and the confidence in God that we can have. Trials are not an enjoyable thing for us to go through. We talk about finding joy in them, but it's not something that's pleasurable to go through. They're difficult. Sometimes they're painful, physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. They can take a toll on us. Then they're not things that we actively seek out. We don't go looking for these things, but at some point, in some way, every one of us is going to experience a trial of some sort, and probably multiple ones. And I want to focus on something that James talks about in regards to trials in verse 4 tonight. And I'm going to read verses 2 and 3 with that to kind of set it up. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. I want to focus on let steadfastness have its full effect tonight. Think about that. The trials produce steadfastness. They produce endurance, but we need to let it finish its work. We need to let it have its full effect. We think that trials make us stronger. I think there's a song that talks about what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right? But that's not what it says here. Trials do not automatically make us stronger, better people. Our trials can produce endurance. They can produce steadfastness or perseverance. But we have to be patient. We have to endure through that and trust the Lord and look for ways to improve ourselves spiritually, to grow as a child of God. We have to do something to grow towards that maturity. Sam brought it up last week, and I want to go back to that same thought. Have you ever seen people that go through a trial but not come out better? They come out bitter. They are angry. Maybe it's not someone else. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's me. Sometimes we become angry, we become embittered, and we direct that towards God. We direct that towards other people, or we just direct it towards life in general. We're just angry about something, embittered about something. And it's because we don't let that steadfastness have its full effect. But what's the cause of that? How do we sabotage God while he's trying to do something to make us complete in endurance or through endurance? How do we sabotage that? There's a lot of ways. I'm just going to give you a few tonight. The first one is we blame. We blame other people for what we are going through. We don't pay attention to, wait, what part did I play in what's going on in this trial? How can I improve from this trial, from things I'm going through? What are my weaknesses? What are my flaws? I spend all my time angry at somebody else or at some other situation that put me in this predicament. And I don't reflect on the ways that I can become better, ways that I can mature spiritually. You know, there's a lot of trials that come to us from things caused by other people, from other situations that are outside of my control. I have no way to prevent these from happening. But even if somebody else did cause it, even if it's somebody else's fault, something else caused this, that doesn't change the fact that God is trying to change us through that trial. That's something that I'm supposed to be learning from that trial. Another thing we do is sin. When we're worn down, when we're weak, when we're weary from whatever trials, there's a real temptation during that trial to turn to sin. As an escape, as a way to numb or dull the pain, to forget about that trial for a while, we go and seek something sinful. The big ones you think of are drinking, drugs, some kind of sexual immorality, anger, outbursts of anger, something directed to take our mind away from what we're going through, whatever it takes to get our mind off of it. Another thing we may do, maybe we just give up. It's taken too long to get through this trial. It's too hard. It's too painful. I can't do it anymore. We get impatient waiting on God and we give up on him. James tells us when we're in trials that God is teaching us endurance. He's teaching us steadfastness, and we need to let it have its full effect so we can be mature, so we can be complete. But rather than letting God transform us, we cave into our impatience. And lastly, maybe we just don't reflect. we just want to get through the trial. We're done with it. We just want it to be over with. We just want to get back to normal. And we don't sit back and think about, what did that trial tell me about me? Is it showing me that I'm an angry person? Is it showing me that I'm a lazy person? Does it show me I'm an impatient person? Or am I materialistic? Am I a lustful person? What does that trial expose about my flaws? There's a real need to let steadfastness have its full effect. We are spiritually incomplete. We're always in need of more refining. Whether you have been a Christian for 50 years or whether you've been a Christian for 50 days, we always need more refining. We always need to grow. And that's why finding joy in trials is so critical. If you're going to go through sufferings, you're going to go through hardships, pain, or loss, it's important to look at it through that lens of joy and growing closer to God. Otherwise, you're going to be swallowed up in anger and bitterness or in hatred and depression. And if that's what you're doing, if you're going to hang out in that realm where you're just angry and hateful and bitter, that trial is a waste. It's never going to have its perfect work. If I'm that person, I'm never going to see the flaws that I need to fix. I'm never going to become what God intends me to be if that's the state I want to remain in. Ultimately, for us, it requires a need for us to be humble. There needs to be humility in us. God's not trying to tear us down. He's not trying to ruin us. He's trying to fix a spiritual shortcoming, a spiritual blind spot that we have. Whether you're a child of God who's going through difficulties right now, going through difficulties in your life, or if you're not a child of God and you're struggling with stress, pain, or uncertainties, God is at work, and it'll be okay, but we need to surrender our will, we need to surrender our way to His will and to His way.